Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're focusing on the topic of viruses, and more specifically, their relevance within cinematic pieces. I think given the harsh cold weather we're experiencing, this topic has some relevance to us today. Yes, looking around the class, I can see that everyone's trying to keep warm, maybe have something hot to drink, probably trying to avoid the common cold, which, as you might know, is an example of a virus. This lecture will focus on 4 topics. What is a virus? How do viruses spread? The impacts of viruses within society, and how viruses are treated. Now firstly, what is a virus? A virus is a microscopic infectious agent that replicates only inside living organisms. If you've been keeping up with the required work, you'll know that the film Contagion highlights this concept through the fictional meningoencephalitis virus 1, or MEV1 for short. The truly fascinating thing about viruses is that they blur the boundary between what is considered life. This is because they are obligate intracellular parasites, and as such require a suitable host cell to reproduce. Furthermore, they do not have their own cellular structure, which is seen as a basic component to life, nor do they have their own metabolism. The virus in the film Outbreak resembles the Ebola virus in that it requires an animal carrier, it is made of a combination of host and virally encoded enzymes, and requires a suitable host structure to produce multiple copies. Viruses are between 10 to 400 nanometers in length, are comprised of an RNA or DNA structure known as a genome, a protein coat known as a capsid, and occasionally an outer layer known as an envelope. In Contagion, the virus is based on the Nipah virus, which is between 20 to 200 nanometers in length and has an RNA structure. Furthermore, there are currently about 1 million known types of viruses on Earth, and some variation exists on almost every ecosystem on Earth. Furthermore, viruses can undergo genetic change through several mechanisms, and are often silent in that they've not changed the protein of the encoded gene, but mutate to the point where they can resist antiviral drugs. This can be seen in the film I Am Legend, when the virus initially started as a cure for cancer, before mutating and turning some people into dark seekers and killing others. So now that we've focused on explaining what a virus is, we can analyze how it spreads through society. If uncontained, viruses can have significant impacts, often leaving large-scale destruction through causing widespread pandemics. Viruses can quickly adapt to their host and environments, as seen in the film Contagion, when the virus manages to survive in a bat, pig, and humans. Furthermore, the film Contagion introduces the concept of fomites, which is an inanimate object that, if contaminated by a virus, can transfer the disease to a new host. Viruses can also be spread through direct ingestion, as seen in the film The Crazies, when people become infected after drinking contaminated water. Furthermore, another way that viruses spread is through direct contact of bodily fluids between an infected person and a non-infected person. This can be seen in the film Viral, when people become infected after coming into contact with the host of the virus's blood or saliva. Furthermore, some viruses are airborne, and as such travel on dust particles or tiny respiratory particles across the air, and infect people who accidentally inhale them. This can be seen in the film Outbreak, when people become infected in a movie theater despite not directly interacting with the host of the virus. To determine how infectious a disease is, a basic reproduction number is calculated. It analyzes the number of cases one virus strain generates in the course of an infectious period in an otherwise uninfected population. In the film Contagion, the basic reproduction number is 4, and scientists predict that 1 in 12 people in the world will become infected. Another component of this lecture is the impact of viruses in causing human diseases. There are multiple illnesses that can be caused, ranging from the relatively minor common cold to more severe illnesses such as Ebola and measles. Viruses utilize several mechanisms that produce disease in organisms, which are influenced by the type and structure of the virus. They bind their attachment protein to a cellular receptor of the host cell attaching themselves to it. Next comes cell lysis, which refers to the breaking down and subsequent death of the cell. In the movie I Am Legend, it showcases this with the genetically engineered measles killing cancer cells before infecting the host. Furthermore, viruses can impact the central nervous system, causing jarring shifts in behavior, making people experience fits of rage. The Crazies is one such film that explores this concept, with infected people exhibiting bizarre violent behavior after a virus infects them. Viruses can have detrimental impacts on the body, including blood discoloration, respiratory problems, severe vomiting, paralysis, and even death. The film Virus, which is based on the real-life Nipah virus crisis in India, highlights this horrific phenomena. Additionally, with the development of technology, viruses have been used as bioweapons. This was evident in 1940 when the Japanese Air Force bombed Ningbo with ceramic bomb full of fleas carrying the bubonic plague. The impacts of bioweapons can be seen in the film The Satan Bug, when a crazed scientist has a plan to release a virus that threatens human extinction. Okay class, the last part of this lecture is focused on how viruses are cured and how science and film portrays this. Once the threat of a virus has been established, the first step to limit the damage is to quarantine the infected people. This ensures that the spread of the disease is somewhat limited as contact with the virus is restricted. This idea was seen in the film The Crazies, when soldiers quarantined residents at the high school where the infection was prevalent. During this period, scientists will analyze the symptoms of the patient and attempt to cure them. One method of curing viruses is by using a strain of the virus to create an antiviral cure. This is seen in Contagion, when Dr. Hextall utilized an attenuated vaccine, which is a vaccine created by reducing the virulence of a pathogen, but ensuring that it is still viable. The science utilized in this film is highly accurate, as measles, mumps, and chickenpox are all viruses that were cured with an attenuated vaccine. The film I Am Legend also showcases how viruses can be cured, when the protagonist Neville derives a treatment using his own blood and tests one of the infected creatures. Although this method seems to fail initially, an antidote is created, which could potentially be used to save lives. Furthermore, in Outbreak, a vaccine is created, with antibodies from the infected monkey used to create an antiserum. Both films, Outbreak and I Am Legend, create a vaccine through an antiserum, which involves using a blood containing antibodies that spreads passive immunity to many diseases. So that concludes today's lecture about viruses and how they are depicted in the cinema. It is important that you watch all the required films, particularly for this topic, as this is new material we're covering. The contents discussed in this class will be tested in the finals. And if you want to discuss anything, my consultation times are between 3 and 4:30 in Science 105 on Tuesdays. Thank you.